Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel for a brand new video on F1 2020, the series that a lot of you have actually been requesting. Somehow, I don't know, it just doesn't get a lot of views, so that's why I've actually decided to make this like a weekly series. Like every single week there's gonna be at least one episode of F1 2020, and if I tend to have more free time I will post twice per week. But at the time where WC9 Career Mode is just my main series, and there's also so much new content on F-Factor 2 and ACC that I need to cover up this week, because we've got two new sim racing videos coming up this week, one on F-Factor 2, one on ACC, and I've also had my league races on the SRC F-Factor 2 Academy season. This is done, and until I actually get into a normal championship with sort of schedule, until then there's gonna be back to the normal content, the single player content. But thank you a lot for the support on the streams. It's just been absolutely insane that I could finally like stream with a schedule which was every single Thursday for 2 weeks at least, and I got quite a lot of support and I absolutely loved it. But either way, to the F1 2020 Career Mode now. I think we've got an invitational event coming up, so let's check this out.
We've had the new parts come through from the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
So apparently we have some upgrades for the British Grand Prix, but until then, let's go into this sort of invitational event. 150k and 1000 acclaim as the driver claim. So that is actually seemed like a very nice invitational event, driving the 1989 or 1988 McLaren that Ayrton Senna drove. I think it's the 1988, which gave Ayrton the championship. I think it must be it. Even 1990? No, it can't be the 1990. I think it's 1988 or 1989. I am not sure. But either way, this car just feels amazing. The engine sounds beautiful, and it just drives a lot more different than the modern F1 cars, obviously. But you know, I love driving these historic F1 cars on F-Factor 2, but here they're actually quite decent as well. Just listen to that engine for a second. Beautiful roaring engine, V12 or V10 I think this car had. Absolutely awesome engine. But either way, 9 seconds to go. I think we're going to be making it across the finish line with only 4 seconds to go, so that was fairly close. But at the end of the day, we're going to be making it and probably passing this sort of time attack test around Suzuka. Absolutely love Suzuka, especially that sort of first section with the S's and all that. One of my favorite F1 tracks of all time. As you can see, 150k and 1k acclaim as for the driver and the CAS for the team, and that means we're actually going to have, how much CAS is that? 1.4 million right before the British Grand Prix, and 156 resource points because I've actually upgraded something on the aerodynamical part, a major upgrade on the aerodynamics. Really needed it. I think that in terms of the engine department we're actually doing fairly well, but aerodynamically and in terms of the statistics the car still needs massive improvements, and it will be coming shortly. In my opinion, you know, we're already close to the end of the first half of the season. We're currently top of the midfield in terms of driver standings, and we're doing very well as a team despite Giuliano not being able to score any points with the team. Now we go Nick de Vries. For anyone who missed the previous episode, go and check it out, the Austrian Grand Prix. We actually managed to sign Nick de Vries as a free driver, and you know, he was cheaper than Giuliano at the time, and he seems like a more capable driver. So this is his first race for the team, as we're just doing the practice program tests, and we're actually using a very worn out edge, as you can see on the bottom right corner. And yeah, it's been going fairly well. All the tests have been almost successful, not almost, very successful, and it was time for practice number 2 to go into the race practice program test and then the qualifying pace test. But the car feels great in my opinion. You know, I'm back driving F1 2020. It doesn't feel very weird. One thing that I've noticed is just how much different this track feels to the F-Factor 2 I think laser scan version that the game has. It just feels completely different, and the curbs are much more weaker and everything. Like, it's crazy how much different it is, and I don't know if you're a sim racing fan, but if you are, I suggest you or an F1 player in general, I suggest you to actually go into a Factor 2 and drive the Silverstone layout and see how much different and how much tougher that circuit is. Because I drove it with a Porsche GT3 and it was just a hell of a ride. But as you can see, only test that I just couldn't even complete and we actually failed was the qualifying pace test. So we might actually have a very tough qualifying session
Good day today. Let's
coming
have
up.
your take on it. You put in a lot of time on the track today. Was there a reason for this?
Time for the interviews. As you can see, I think we had some upgrades for Great Britain, but I'm not really sure, so I can't really answer.
Interesting result today. Would you say that you're happy with your performance?
The car handles great in my opinion. As I've already told you, the car handles well, and I think we can actually end up with a good result here. Also, first race for Nick DeVries. I would like to see how we compare with each other. So yeah.
Is there anything that you think gave you the edge over your rivals?
I don't think we had any kind of edge, but if I had to say something, which morale should we improve? Let's say the sasses, yeah. Even though it's not good, let's just say that.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So pretty much back after even practice 3. As you can see, these are the overall resource points we're going to be getting. We're back up to 1k.28. And right before qualifying, I'm actually going to be showing you. So we did these 2 major aerodynamic updates. The engine, I feel like, doesn't need to be upgraded yet. I feel like it will be upgraded, but at the moment we seem to have a fairly strong powertrain package, and we will be upgrading it, but not just about yet. I feel like these upgrades that we're going to be doing on the sasses, which this one is going to be the one that I really want to do, but I think that aerodynamically we've done a phenomenal job with these 2 upgrades. If they actually arrive on time, I feel like the car is just going to be much better in terms of the aero and just going to fly through some of these tracks and probably be much faster going into season 2. And even at the end of the season, I feel like if these aerodynamic upgrades work, then we're gonna have a phenomenal second half of the season, probably even more competitive, and probably my teammate may as well score some points. But this is time now for qualifying, get dry qualifying session surprisingly enough around Great Britain. But as you can see, Q1, that's my second lap there on the set of soft tires, and we actually couldn't out-qualify my teammate Nick DeVries, who seems to have set a fairly decent lap time ahead of both of the Williams. And now on lap number 3 for me, overall, we're doing another lap on a fresh set of soft tires this time round, and we had quite a great improvement there. As you can see, a 2/10 improvement going now through the final sector. Unfortunately, we couldn't complete the lap, we ran out of fuel, and that was it for my qualifying session. No more time left to actually set another lap time, and that was fairly unfortunate. I feel like had we completed that qualifying lap, we probably would have been ahead of Nick DeVries. But still, you know, he actually improved even more, and he out-qualified me by 6/10. So that was a phenomenal first qualifying session for Nick DeVries, who seems to have a better pace already than me and the Williams, and he even out-qualified Antonio Giovinazzi.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. What was your teammate's secret to success today?
I don't know, he literally got this apparently was his first time on a Formula 1 car, brand new car, and the car just wasn't very competitive even around here this time round. So no idea what was his plan, but he really did well.
How will not making Q3 affect your strategy tomorrow?
Well, I think we've never have we ever made Q3? I'm not even sure. I think we're just not really used to Q3, so it's okay.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So yeah, horrendous qualifying session, because we even got out-qualified by Russell. I know I didn't complete my final lap, I probably could have improved by 3/10, but even with these 3/10s, Nick DeVries would have out-qualified us. So a very good qualifying session for my new teammate. I was not expecting this, and I'm actually happy to see him succeeding. But since I'm starting from P21, why not just get new parts? You know, there's no need to... Why not get new parts, pretty much? So, fresh engine, started from last position, obviously, because of all these penalties, but we're only losing out on 1 position. So, let's go to the race and see how well we can do.
We return once again then to the home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula 1 World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hanger Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So time for the British Grand Prix. Started from last position, obviously. I've already told you, just changed everything on the engine, every single part, got fresh new parts, going for the one-stop strategy. I'm not really sure about how well we can do in this race. I feel like Austria, we had a very good pace, and the one-stop strategy really did work out, and that's why we're actually fighting up there for a podium position. If you haven't watched that race, go back and re-watch and watch the Austrian Grand Prix. It was an absolutely phenomenal race, and I'm just going to say, last lap fights with Lewis Hamilton. That's all I'm going to say. So go watch that video because it was absolutely insane. But either way, time for the British Grand Prix. 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go for the British Grand Prix. As you can see, a fairly decent start actually. I was not expecting this, but Giovinazzi got off to a good start. He's going around the outside of Russell and De Vrij, and oh, that is very close between me and Antonio Giovinazzi going into turn number 1. I'm going to try and take the inside line and probably go for a cheeky dive bomb on George Russell, Latifi, and even my teammate Latifi makes some contact with me. And I'm still on the outside line, probably going to get a better exit off both of these Williams. And now sub with my new teammate Nick De Vrij, obviously just completely around wide through that corner. I feel like I didn't have a lot of space, but now De Vrij could get my slipstream. I'm going to try and help him defend from Latifi there, trying to take that outside line. And Latifi was trying to get us. Magnussen and Kimi Räikkönen are going side by side right in front of me. Räikkönen probably going to have the better exit, and still is around the outside of Kevin Magnussen. It's a very nice fight at the same time. Nick De Vrij actually will try and go up the inside. Not sure about that. Actually around wide now through this fast corner, and that is actually an illegal overtake there on Kevin Magnussen, but we're going to take that. It's not very legal according to the game at this point, so we're taking this, and Nick De Vrij actually takes the advantage there of the bad run that Kevin Magnussen had, and he's now ahead of him. And at this point, a few laps later, Giovinazzi and Magnussen re-overtook Nick De Vrij, so Nick doesn't really have a lot of pace at the moment, but nor do we, in my opinion. I feel like pace doesn't really look good even for us. There's a huge train of cars in front of me, which is the midfield pack, but there's literally 7 more positions to gain to go into the top 10 and gain some points out of this race. So at the moment, this looks very unlikely to happen, but as long as we're close to Kimi Räikkönen and the Haas of Roman Grosjean, we could still have a chance to go into the points. You know, a safety car, something like that could happen, and we could really take advantage of the whole situation. Norris keeps on losing his position there. He lost another position out to the AlphaTauri of either Pierre Gasly or Daniel Kvyat, and it's actually Pierre Gasly, as I'm closing into these guys because of the fights that Norris has. Norris doesn't seem to have a lot of pace, probably an engine issue, mechanical issue there for Lando Norris. Just doesn't have the pace that his teammate Carlos Sainz has at the moment, who's inside the top 10. And he's actually having a phenomenal race right behind a Racing Point and the Mercedes and the Red Bulls. And right behind Kimi Räikkönen, trying to get a good exit around this corner. It's almost impossible. I always tend to just lose the back end through there, and that just doesn't give me any chances to overtake into this sort of straight there. So Kimi Räikkönen also has the erase from Roman Grosjean. That makes it even harder for me, as Grosjean now tries to overtake Lando Norris, who just is clear that he probably has an issue there. AlphaTauri are opening up the gap, and I'm just there in that train of cars of Kimi Räikkönen, Roman Grosjean and Lando Norris fighting for P14. Unfortunately, we just don't really have a lot of pace to try and overtake all of these 3 cars, as we're reaching lap number 10 on the set of soft tires. The soft tires actually feel well, surprisingly, so I'm not going to be pitting just about yet, as Kimi Räikkönen is very, very just getting slowed down there by Roman Grosjean, but who's getting slowed down by Lando. So Lando is really forming up this sort of train, and we just can't really get a good exit through this corner in order to try and have a chance to overtake Kimi Räikkönen. But the good thing is we're not really damaging our tires, and we're not really damaging our race at this point, because the midfield is just running away with this race, so it's going to be almost impossible to overtake someone and just move up to the top 10. But this seems like a very good opportunity now to make our move on Kimi Räikkönen. We have DRS, he also has DRS, but I'm going up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen into I don't remember this corner name, very bad by me, but Kimi's trying to go back around the outside now to regain his position. Not possible there for the Iceman, who's just gonna have to wait probably for his next opportunity if he really wants to re-overtake me. But for the time being, we've finally completed the move on Kimi Räikkönen, as my pit window has opened now on from lap 11 to lap number 13 to put on a set of mediums to go to the end of the race. So at the moment we are in the top 10, but obviously the whole of the midfield has pitted, and when we pit we're just going to lose automatically all these positions. So for the time being, Lando Norris still has no pace, and I see Lando Norris and Roman Grosjean pitting, and as you can see, a Ferrari, a Racing Point, a Red Bull, the Renault, and also an AlphaTauri has pitted. So everyone has pitted. I'm not pitting yet because I'm actually setting very, very good laps on that sort of soft, so there's not really a reason to just get rid of that sort of soft, as the Mercedes have actually started the race on the sort of medium. So clearly dominant performance there from both the Mercedes there, as I've been just been setting 129.5s and very close to my personal best lap times with that sort of tire. So there was not really a reason to jump into the pit stops just about yet, since the performance of the tires hasn't really dropped. And I've been maintaining my ERS very well. I've been having a good race, if you really think about it. It's just the car that just doesn't have the speed to keep up with the midfield or for this sort of track. But going to the pit stops on lap number 12, we're going to be entering lap number 13 very soon. Going on a set of mediums and just go to the end of the race. I saw that I set a very good second sector, which was almost 2/10 faster than my personal best. So I was like, okay, we've had a good in lap. We're going into the pit stops. We gained as much time as we could. Let's see what we're going to exit the pit stops on, which position. Hopefully we're going to be ahead of Kimi Räikkönen and probably even Lando Norris. You know, he just didn't seem to have a lot of pace, and it's a 3.1 pit stop, which is actually not that good at all. Really want to see how that sort of mediums is going to fare with me, and I see actually that's probably Roman Grosjean right ahead of me. He's going to be around 2 seconds ahead of me. That's worse than what it was because there's not a huge train of cars, but we are ahead of Kimi Räikkönen, who once again chooses to go with a harder compound of tires for some weird reason. I feel like he could have made 12 or 13 to 14 laps with a medium set of tires, but he knows what he's doing probably. It's Kimi Räikkönen, you know, he did the same thing in Canada for some weird reason, and he missed out on a very good podium opportunity there, which was a great opportunity to get a podium. Even in France, like Canada and France, both the Alfa Romeos had a great chance of getting a podium. But talking about Kimi Räikkönen, he tries to go up the inside there to the old first corner there, and he actually makes corner with me, pushing me wide there outside of the circuit. But we tend to win out this fight, and even Lando Norris, who seems to has sort of regained his pace there, overtakes Kimi Räikkönen. Now Lando Norris seems to really has a lot of pace at the moment on that sort of medium tires. We go side by side with Lando Norris. Amazing fight at this point. Still side by side going through this corner. We now have the inside line. Gonna push him as wide as they can, but still respect him and give him as much space as he needs. He does get a very good exit, but now he can't maintain the pace there to the exit of the corner. We regain our position as Kimi Räikkönen once again goes up the inside of Lando Norris. That is a very good fight between the three of us. It has been an ongoing fight since the start of the race, but now, you know, Grosjean seems to have just left this sort of train. He's now up into 14th position, just doing his own race. Lando Norris this time round does have a better momentum. Can he maintain it around the outside? He can't really make it through cops there. Very good fight. He's still on my outside actually, but now I obviously have the better momentum on the inside. He's still very close there. Look at this fight between me and Lando Norris. Absolutely insane. With 11 laps to go, and taking into consideration Lando's pace, I highly doubt we're going to be maintaining this place, and now he goes up the inside. Lando Norris still trying very hard to complete this move. You just can't defend for that long. We're still on the inside though, and we're trying to stay ahead, still on the inside, and just somehow we're going to be maintaining this position for one more lap, as it's only 10 laps to go at the moment. Can Lando Norris now complete the move? Any chance for him? He's going to try and go up the inside. A bit of a dive there, a bit of a very, very brave dive there from the British man who's on his home Grand Prix. Hasn't had a very good race, and he obviously just wants to take that 15th position there at least. You know, he doesn't want to finish behind a Lotus, a very struggling Lotus in this race, and this time round he's going to be completing the move even before the straight. Very good move there from Lando Norris, who obviously has the better car and seems to has sort of regained his pace at this point. He did have a very bad first stint, but at the moment he is actually closing down the gap from Roman Grosjean to try and regain another position. As for me, pace was not good in my opinion, but he was very consistent, which meant we managed to open up a 3-second gap from Raikkonen, who has just been overtaken from the fast Haas. So the Haas seems to be actually fairly fast around Great Britain this time round, and Magnussen is the one to overtake Kimi Raikkonen. Let's see if he has the same pace as his teammate and has any chance of actually closing down the gap to me and probably attacking me. As I said, my personal best there, which is not going to be very good news there from Kevin Magnussen, who was trying to catch up to me, but with not a lot of laps to go, we've really opened up slightly the gap from Kevin, who's actually into 17th position. My teammate actually has a fairly decent race. He's on a set of hard tires, same as Raikkonen, and he actually overtook him. So very good race for my teammate. First race of the season for him, 18th position. As for me, it's 16th position here in Great Britain. What can I say?
Take care of the car on the way in.
Not very happy with the car, but I think we had a very decent race. We gained 6 positions and we get driver of the day all of a sudden, you know. Despite not having a very good race. I feel like my race was good, but the car just didn't perform well.
Action here at Silverstone. It was a memorable race, and what an impressive victory. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes just completely dominated this race. It was an absolutely amazing strategy from Mercedes, starting the race on a set of mediums and just dominated from then and on. And obviously there's a passion there from 2020 and Ferrari is very weak, so all of a sudden, when we're leading the championship, they're just going to drop down massively there. Out of this race, you know, we actually level up on our season pass, sort of, and I really want to buy liveries and just change up the livery. Of course, keep the original colors, the green and yellow stripes and all that, but probably on a different sort of scheme. Or I have some special ideas like the black and sort of yellow livery, or the all-out yellow livery, or the white and red livery. There's so many liveries that the Lotus team had inherited through the years that I really want to try them on this series. So keep on supporting the series, because I really want to try a few new liveries and just have a lot of fun with the livery creator on this one. But yeah, let's talk about the race now on the interview.
Let's have your thoughts. You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy?
A good start, gained 3 positions, then we managed to make the move on Raikkonen, and just, I feel like, well, it was a fairly mediocre race.
You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
A good team, good car, I should say. I feel like, you know, I've been overdriving it, in my opinion.
You left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip, or did you just misjudge some corners?
Well, I don't remember hitting absolutely anything. I didn't even make contact with anyone. I feel like I had a very, very clean race. Even with Raikkonen and Lando, when we had a very, very good fight, there was not really contact. It was only wheel to wheel at some point, so don't really get you.
Appreciate your time.
But anyway, I feel like the performance was good. Obviously, I'm going to be just losing this rivalry up against Alexander Albon. What was I thinking? I think I was on a very good point of my season trying to fight Alexander Albon, but we're just not going to be able to fight with the Red Bulls, and it's actually the first time we didn't get any bonus from the sponsors. We literally got $0 from the sponsors. Absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. But as you can see, one of these upgrades on the aerodynamics, let me show you how much of improvements there's going to be. Look at that. These upgrades are going to bring us right up ahead of McLaren, Haas, Scuderia AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo. It's just going to be an amazing upgrade. And now we're going to be doing this, since we have the resource points for that, the other major chassis upgrade, which is going to bring us back up to the midfield. So these upgrades, if they don't fail, we're going to be well and truly inside the top 10. So that means more chances for my teammate to get points, more chances for me to actually fight for that midfield, like top of the midfield team and driver and all that. We're also going to be upgrading the build time on the aerodynamics, since we had the money to do that and we've just signed a new driver. I feel like we need to bring these updates, since we've improved the quality control of both the chassis and the aerodynamics. I feel like we need to bring them in a little bit earlier if we want to improve the car faster. So we actually got that sort of livery, but I really want to try these new liveries. I really want to build some new liveries on this game. So please keep on supporting this series if you want to see more content on F1 2020. But as you can see, these are driving standings, and we only have a 6-point gap from Alexander Albon. So that's why actually the game suggested Albon as an opponent, which just seems impossible at this point. Racing Point is the top midfield team with an 8-point gap from the Lotus team. So if we improve the car a little bit more for the second half of the season, and if Nick De Vries proves to be a good driver, which he already did here in Great Britain, I feel like he had a phenomenal race ahead of the Alfa Romeos and ahead of both the Williamses. So he had a very good race. You know, we had a faster car than the Williams and the Alfa Romeos. I feel like the Haas was faster than us on this race. That's why Grosjean managed to finish ahead of me, but we managed to finish ahead of Kevin Magnussen. So fairly good episode. Good drive from Nick, good drive from me. If you take it into consideration, I gained 6 positions in this race. But if you really want to see more content on F1 2020, make sure you like this video, share it with any of your friends that are looking for F1 2020 career mode episodes. Tell me down in the comments below if you want to see online F1 2020 videos, because I want to do that. If you want to see it, please tell me down in the comments below, and I will start posting online videos on F1 2020. They're much easier to record, much more funnier. I could do it with friends, and just, I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun. Just do it, just want it, you know, support this game. I want to continue the career mode, but I needed to get a fair amount of views in order to, you know, edit, record. It takes quite a lot of time, especially this game. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord server, subscribe to the channel, and when you subscribe, ring that bell. And until next video, guys, I'll catch you later. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the big moment we've all been waiting for.
Ladies and gentlemen, place your turntable in front of your guests.
Set the volume control in your stereo system at the preferred listening level.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Beat rock, beat rock, beat rock, beat